Hello everyone, this is a short recap of the movie Row. Enjoy watching. A group of 4 people are going to sail 3,700 kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean to set a world record. But in the middle of the endless water, a conflict turns their journey into a nightmare. The film, the original title of which translates as To Row and How to Brawl, begins in the vastness of the Atlantic Ocean, where a bloody boat with a couple of bodies on board is rocking on the waves. A frightened gang looks out of a small hole with a knife. The story moves to a small hotel. The girl is lying in bed, and some people are looking after her. They want to know if she remembers what happened. Gen is covered with flashbacks. She is driving with her mother along the coast of Canada's Newfoundland, an island near the Labrador Peninsula, which is ironic, since both of these toponyms also denote dog breeds. The girl watches a video of her team of travelers on her smartphone together. They are going to sail across the Atlantic Ocean in a mushroom boat to break the record for the fastest such journey. Arriving at the pier early in the morning, she finds a strange man named Mike, a new crew member in the bow hold of the boat. The instigator of the event and the owner of the boat, Daniel, arrives next. And then Lexi, Megan's friend. Having loaded the necessary belongings into the boat, the crew sets off at dawn. Waking up in the bow hold in the morning, Megan goes on board where the men are rowing, and Lexi sits in the stern and brags about the fish she caught. When Megan has given it to hold, she throws the catch overboard because it is disgusting. At breakfast, they learn that Daniel left a water heater on the shore. The extra weight slows the voyage, so they are forced to dilute their dry rations with cold water. Another day passes. The men row until sunset. On the 3rd day, Lexi records a video diary. It turns out that the guys have been preparing for the trip for 2 years, and they have less than a month to cover 3,700 kilometers. 28 days later, they must be there, so they row in pairs for 2 hours. When Gang comes to Detective Mackle talks to her. He explains that the girl was found dehydrated and exhausted, but now she is safe. The detective wants to know what happened to the rest of her companions. During the night vigil, the girls notice that the steering wheel is jammed, causing the boat to go astray. In the morning, Mike, putting on a wetsuit, dives into the water to fix the problem. The cause of the malfunction is a piece of rubber wire that got into the gap. A lot of garbage splashes in the sea. Daniel says that because of this garbage, they were left without adjusting the steering wheel. The motor burned out. Then he throws the rubber back into the ocean. Let him look for other fools. In the evening, Daniel mutters under his breath suspicions that someone staged the accident. Glancing at the others with his eyes, it was as if it was slipped there. A damn rubber band on the island. Megan explains to the detective that Mike was new to the group. Adam, Lexi's boyfriend, was supposed to sail with them, but shortly before departure, he broke his leg. Then Danielle quickly found a replacement for him in the person of Mike, a guy they had not met before. Ian learns that Lexi had a fight with Adam, suspecting him of cheating, so she does not answer his calls. However, her friend does not want to discuss this sensitive issue. The team continues to row across the ocean despite the breakdown of equipment. Soon Lexi's birthday arrives. They celebrate by singing songs and drinking the alcohol they have stored up. Few can boast of celebrating a birthday in the middle of the ocean. Only SpongeBob and the Little Mermaid. However, the solemnity of the event is interrupted by vomiting. Mike feels unaccustomed to it, and Daniel teases him about it. Isn't it shameful to be a weakling? Not everyone can be a drunk, right? But there are worse problems. A thunderstorm is approaching the boat. In addition to the gloomy St. Petersburg vibes, the bad weather brings with it giant waves capable of turning over the fragile vessel, crashing down on it with all the force of the water element. However, the travelers are lucky. They survive the storm. Mike lies with a fever in a cabin, decorated with motivational quotes for several days. Daniel worries that without a rower, they will fall behind schedule and will not set a record. Lexi takes care of the pain, covering him so that he does not catch pneumonia. Later, the girl receives a call on a satellite phone from Adam. Giving into emotions, she accepts it. However, the interlocutor greets Megan. Hi. This gives the girl interesting thoughts. She accuses her friend of stealing her boyfriend. The brewing quarrel takes an unexpected turn. Half-naked Mike emerges from the cabin with a knife and a wild look. He is sure that there is a Rachel on board. He asks his comrades where they hid her. Lexi tries to reason with him so that she can take the knife. When she succeeds, Daniel hits the patient on the head with an emergency weapon while he's coming to. McKay tells Gan that the police were unable to find evidence of the existence of the aforementioned Mike. Not only that he got into the boat, but even the fact of his existence. There is no record of Macrogilio getting into your boat. Daniel is talking to his father on a satellite phone. When Mike, who has recovered from a fever, comes to his senses, he does not remember the outburst of rage, and the others with Lexi's supply limited themselves to mentioning that he was sleepwalking while the girl feeds him. Gan on the island plunges into flashbacks even further. One day, arriving early for training at the boat, she found her friend and Lexi sleeping in the cabin. The girl wanted to leave and notice, but the guy came out to talk. From the conversation, it becomes clear that there was something between them. Behind Lexi's back, Daniel, tormented by doubt, sits in the cabin. When Mike says that he can share his experiences with him if he wants instead, the captain calls his father in the middle of the night to clarify something. The conversation attracts the attention of Gan, who sneaks up on the man scaring him during the day. It turns out that the battery is almost dead. It needs to be recharged manually with a dynamo machine, turning off the water maker. For this time, Mike takes out the battery to pump it up, while Daniel and Lexi row. By evening, the weather deteriorates. The waves get stronger. One of them, rolling onto the boat, capsizes it. The travelers end up overboard. Thanks to the safety ropes attached to the sides, the current does not carry them in different directions. Mike and Daniel turn the ship back from under the water. Gan, entangled in the rope, drowns. Memories of this cause nightmares on the island. Mike pulls the girl out of the water after the storm. Daniel, checking the equipment, asks Mike to connect the battery back. Suddenly, it turns out he did not close the lock of the waterproof compartment, and water got in during the storm, which caused the battery to become unusable. Now they are left without any equipment at all. They will have to navigate by the stars. While the captain plots the route, Lexi dives into the water to clean the bottom of the stuck shells with a knife. At this time, Gen thanks Mike for saving her. "Thank you. I owe you later." Waking up, the girls notice a package of vegetable dry rations in the cabin. Dissatisfied with the menu, Lexi gets supplies on the deck to conduct an inventory. It turns out that there are far fewer supplies than they took with them. There is food left for 9 days. The cheerful and resourceful commander suggests rowing faster in order to reach the shore within the specified time, when he later commands Mike and Lexi to row. Despite the fatigue and blisters, the girl suddenly has an idea. She understands that Daniel threw out the supplies to motivate them to move faster. This way they can set a record. When he, under the pressure of evidence, admits guilt, Lexi rushes at him with her fists. And then, remembering the imperishable classic "I'll kill you," the boatman beats him with an oar. In the evening, when everyone has scattered to their cabins, Mike visits the girls. He says that he can kill Daniel by cutting his insurance and pushing him overboard. No one will know anything. Gan objects that they will know. Then the guy suggests simply tying up the captain if he does anything crazy. Left alone, Lexi tells her friend that she is afraid, but not of Mike but of Daniel. His obsession with the record could cost them all their lives. Nevertheless, they continue to row in the morning. According to calculations, there are 1,300 kilometers left to Ireland, which must be sailed in 5 days. The crew refuses to strain their muscles after such an attitude. In addition, it turns out that the bags with drinking water supplies have leaked, and a new pressure was not available. Noticing a cut from a knife on the bag, Daniel blames Mike, remembering how he threatened them in delirium. "You are sick in the head, Mike. You are really crazy," quote. After this, the captain rummages in his comrade's bag to find a photo of Rachel. He wants to show it to the girls, but at that moment, the others decide to attack him and twist his arms. As soon as Gan hesitates, not giving him the rope, Lexi reaches for it herself. Breaking free, Daniel pushes her. She falls and cracks her head. Having tied up Daniel, Mike helps Megan stitch up the wound on his head. In the process, the captain says that at his request, his father found out something about Mike. He killed his girlfriend Rachel and went on a journey with them, hiding from justice under an assumed name. Mike unconvincingly denies the accusation. Later, tied up Daniel, taking advantage of the fact that everyone is asleep, tries to reach for the knife to free himself, but Megan is vigilant and on the alert. She also tied up the sleeping Mike so as not to tugging at fate by his hairy balls. Threatening her comrade with a knife, she orders him to continue the route to the nearest shipping lane to help the wounded Lexi. After that, she frees the men so that they row until they row. When Lexi comes to Daniel, says that it was an accident. He does not want to take the blame, threatening to blame his comrades for the mutiny on the ship. After the conversation, despite the bad weather, Daniel continues to row and row as long as he has the strength. When they run out, Mike and Megan replace him. The captain himself at this time sings to Lexi, who has come to her senses, with water, after which her cold corpse is found by her friend. The boat moves to the shipping lanes, where the travelers launch a signal flare at night, hoping to attract help, but they are left to their own devices in the midst of the raging bad weather. The raised ninth wave almost capsizes the boat, but washes overboard all the participants of the competition, including Lexi's corpse wrapped in a black bag. Megan climbs back into the boat using the insurance. She sees that the men are not visible, but when Daniel appears, the girl blaming him for the death of her friend and fastens the insurance carabiner. Instead of helping, the current carries the captain away from the rescue boat. Then Mike emerges from under the water. The girl helps him get on board, deciding that one frag is enough for moral satisfaction. They continue to drift in the direction of salvation. Megan ostentatiously drinks the last of her fresh water, not wanting to share it with Mike. His job is to row and hers is to sit with a knife. The next day she starts talking about Rachel. The guy says that she dumped him one day. He got drunk and was late for a meeting. And when he arrived, she was already gone. He hasn't seen her since. Inspired by the heartbreaking story, Megan gives him the rest of the water, admitting that it is unworthy to survive. She killed Daniel by unfastening the carabiner. Noticing that the girl put the knife on his side of the boat, Mike confesses in response. In fact, he killed Rachel. He stabbed her during an argument, after which he drowned the body in the lake. Realizing what she did, Megan rushes to the knife, but Mike is in no hurry to stop her. He waits for her to cut his throat. The girl understands that he is not a bloodthirsty maniac and repents of what she did in the state of effect, so much that she is ready to die because of guilt. She lowers the knife, but the ocean, tired of this, Santa Barbara slightly rocked the wave, unable to stay on his feet. Megan plunges the knife into his comrade's stomach. However, the girl bandages the wound, and the two of them continue the drive, collecting rainwater in a bucket to drink. Mike consoles Megan when she starts to have hysterics from the desire to see her mother. She even measures the girls on the island, but upon awakening, the maid says that the police found someone from her crew and will soon bring him for a confrontation. In the evening, Mike tries to catch a seagull that landed on the boat, but to no avail. But in the morning, he manages to catch a fish with a fishing rod. Having thrown the catch on the deck, the man falls overboard from loss of blood. Unable to grieve, Megan eats the catch raw, simultaneously pulling a fishing hook out of the guts. The fish swallowed a whole collection before dying, angering many fishermen. In the morning, she notices an island ahead on the beach, of which she was found unconscious. When she got out there with her last strength, Leon sees from the window how the police are taking someone to her, but cannot understand who survived, Daniel or Mike. She leaves the room to meet the guest, but Detective Mackle politely brings her back, handcuffing the bed to avoid sessions. When Costu brings him, it turns out that it is Adam left alone. He asks why the friends did not return back, noticing that the bags of water are leaking. Gain understands that he sabotaged the trip, wanting to postpone it for a while so that his broken leg would recover and he could sail with them. She blames him for the death of her friends, in addition to his personal grudge against Megan for breaking up. Adam does not believe in the existence of Mike. He used a false name just like the policeman. In addition, he tells the detective when he saw his friends off on their journey, there were only 3 of them on the boat. Reports that Lexi's body was fished out of the water, and if there is a body, then there is a case. He accuses Gan of murdering Daniel's friend and arrests her. While a report is on TV about the found body of a missing girl named Rachel, in whose murder her boyfriend Mike was suspected, Katie takes Megan to the mainland for a long time.